Many moons ago, when the lands of the above and the below were one, a young king ruled with the power of imagination so great that his very thoughts brought light and peace to all. But near the 12th year of his reign, a great tragedy befell the young king, and his grief so great split the world in two. The lands of the above and the below, where all memory of the tragedy was buried. And so it was that time stood still, and a great darkness fell across the land. And in that darkness grew a creature made of fear itself, a creature known as the Shroud.
Greetings and salutations. I trust I find you all well. So it's quite apparent that we are going through a great reset, a reset of some sort. It's quite apparent that there is a great awakening that is underway. Many people are beginning to awaken, as they say. So this begs the question, what are people awakening to, first of all? Another question that we will ask subsequently is, why is this happening now? Why is this awakening happening now? Another question that we'll find ourselves asking is, who or what is behind this current reset? And the final question we might ask is, where is this all heading? Why is this happening? Where is it heading? What's the end goal of all of this? Now, of course, there's going to be all types of theories and hypotheses and perspectives that all kinds of groups of people are going to have on Earth. All you have to do is go on the internet, and there are all these gurus and YouTubers and spiritual people and religious people, myself included, who will have their theories, who will have their perspectives, and who will proclaim to at least have a reasonable, as far as they're concerned, explanation as to why this is happening now, who is behind it or what is behind it, and where it's heading. So it's really interesting because, you know, when we look at the facts, and it's always good to begin with the facts first before we get into the theories. When we look at the facts, I think the fact of the matter is there is something happening. There is an awakening. Things will never, ever go back to what they were. Many are still holding on and hoping that somehow things will return to normal or go back to how they were, particularly people who were benefiting and winning from the system, right? You don't want things to change when you are at the top of the food chain, when you're winning. So there are many who are hoping that things somehow go back to normal and we can go back to capitalism, the good old days when I could go to university, get a job, get a good job if I worked hard, I could get a mortgage, I could go on holidays, I could become a millionaire if I worked hard enough. That is done. That is never ever coming back again. It's over. That paradigm is completely done. And, you know, we're moving into something different. We're moving into new paradigms of living. So that's a fact. That is it. That's indisputable. We cannot dispute that at all. Nothing's going back to normal. Another fact that we can all, I suppose, agree on is the fact that nobody really knows for sure, 100%, what is going on, who is behind what is going on, and how things are going to pan out. 100%. Nobody knows this for sure. Even though we know there's change, nobody knows exactly what, why, when, how, and where things are heading. We can all speculate, and we've all got somewhat pieces of the puzzle as to the big picture, but no one has the full picture in one cohesive cohesive picture, I suppose. So what I can tell you, I'm going to share my hypothesis and my theory based on what I've just said. for me, it's pretty clear that this is happening at this moment in time, not because it's being orchestrated by any particular group of people. It's not being orchestrated by some God that is up in the clouds somewhere, some Jesus character or Muhammad or Buddha that is pulling the strings and controlling us minions down here to bend to its will. To me, that makes zero sense to me at all. There's no reasoning. There's no. It just makes zero sense. So I'm pretty sure that that's not the case. I'm also pretty sure that what is happening now isn't being orchestrated by some elite group of people that are behind the scenes, that have so much money and so much control, that they are in full control of the whole world, and they are managing everything, and they've got everything under control, and everything is bending to their will. I don't subscribe to that notion either. Now, it's not to say that there aren't people behind the scenes who are running the world, or who have been running the world and managing the world and gatekeeping this realm, so to speak. That is the case for sure. What I am saying is, these people do not have full control over what is going on. They are not the last stop. Let's call it that. There are greater forces beyond. And these greater forces beyond are not a God force at all. They are more like a collective force of energy. And we are part of that energy. We, the people who don't see ourselves as the elites who run the world, we actually do run the world. And this is what I want to focus in on. I really want to stress the point that when you reach a certain level of enlightenment, you start to realize that the world is run by your energy, by our energy. We are the life force that powers this reality. We power it through our thoughts, which is our imaginations. We power through our emotions and through our actions, the mind, the body, and the soul. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Every single one of us is a cog in the machine. And some are larger cogs than others. Some are brighter lights than others. This is just a fact. And what we call the elites are people we are saying are basically larger cogs or brighter lights that have a much bigger influence or impact on how this reality works. Now, we then have to ask the question, who or what determines what or who becomes a cog, a large cog, an influential cog, or a bright light, an influencer of reality? And the answer is very simple. Very, very simple. So simple, in fact, that it's almost hard to believe. And we're so far removed from the truth that now the truth seems stranger than fiction, and fiction seems more real than the truth. The truth is, real power is not money. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Power is not money. Money is a fake construct. Real power is not material possessions. It's not how much wealth you have. Far from it. Real power is not even how much knowledge you have. It's not even how intelligent you are or how much knowledge you have. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have, how many books you've read, how much you think you know, or how much you do know. That is not true power in itself. Real influence, to be a true player character, to be a true influencer of reality, a true demigod, let's call it that, to be part of the elite, the true elite in the spiritual realms. I'm not talking about in this carnal realm. I'm talking about in the spiritual realms. To be a part of that elite group, you need one key ingredient. I'm building up for the drama, by the way. That key ingredient is imagination. It's your imagination. Your imagination is the magic dust. It is the secret ingredient that controls everything, beginning with your own internal reality and then your immediate external reality, amplifying outwards to the external reality of the world. Now, the bigger, the wider, the clearer your imagination is, the more influential you become in the spiritual realms and then effectively in the exterior realms. And what this matrix has done, what has happened over time, as our memories have capitulated, as we've begun to forget, what we've forgotten, what we call forgetting your memories, is forgetting how to imagine. Because that's what memories are. It's the ability to think beyond the limits that, or the parameters, or the box that we've been encapsulated into. This is what we call the matrix or the grid. We're all living inside this grid system that has set principles about how we should be dressing, how we should be eating, how we should be living, what life means and how life should be. And that's what we call the matrix or the simulation. It's a programmed reality. And the matrix or the simulation is designed to basically steal your essence, your original thought, your ability to imagine reality, to imagine and then emotively action what you've imagined into existence. This is the magic that we human beings have, and that has been taken from us, that only a few so-called beings on earth have tapped into and are able to effectively effect on a day-to-day basis. So awakening, true awakening, really awakening is learning how to imagine again. And not just imagine, but learning how to put emotion into your imagination. And emotion is energy in motion. And basically take whatever you're imagining and materialize it into your own existence, into your own world. You can all see how I'm dressed here, right? I'm dressed in hemp clothes. I'm dressed in hemp fabric. These clothes are all tailor-made. This is hemp that is grown in Nepal, shipped to Portugal, and designed by myself and created or tailored here at the Kingdom of Pineal by someone that I know, right? By someone who is a part of my field. I'm involved in everything that I'm wearing, head to toe. And I'm saying this to give you this example to show what originality looks like, what creativity looks like, what imagination looks like. This is how we should be living. We should be taking full responsibility of everything that we choose to participate in, right? Now, not only has our imagination been stolen from us, most people are actually programmed, even as they awaken, to actually fear anything that is original and anything that is imagined or outside the box. They are taught to fear it and to attack it. So I get so many people who claim to be awake and claim to be, I'm awake, I'm aware, I know everything's a lie, this is a lie. And in the same breath, they will laugh at me and criticize me for daring to dress differently, for daring not to wear clothes that were made in China or Indonesia or Taiwan or in a factory somewhere that I have no idea, right? Or to wear designs that I had no input on. Someone else's imagination. Someone else imagined the clothes that most people wear. It's not their own imagination. It's not from their own essence. So when someone is doing something from their own imagination, it's people, the programming kicks in. People fear it. There's a programming people are programmed into, even as they're awake, so-called awake. So this is really a true test of who is truly awake and who's half awake, who's half-baked and who's fully aware of what's happening. So everyone eventually is going to have to face the music. This is where things are heading. We're getting to a stage where, you know, we've got, in fact, before I even get there, I'm going to use this same argument and this premise to say something very controversial, to say something that most people are not really going to like. It's going to be very unpopular for me to say, but the truth is the truth and facts are facts. I am saying, and I'm telling you right now, that the New World Order is going to succeed. The New World Order, they will succeed with their plans. The World Economic Forum, Carl Schwab, Bill Gates, all those people will succeed in everything that they've said they're going to do. And I'm going to tell you why they're going to succeed. They're going to succeed because they have imagination. They're able to think outside the box. They know that the old is gone. It's finished. It's over. They know that we cannot go back to doing things the way we're doing it. And they've come up with new ways, right? I don't agree with those ways, by the way. I'm not endorsing any of that. I don't agree with those ways. They've come up with new solutions as to how we should do things, how we should live, right? And their solutions are based on artificial intelligence, as we now know. So that's what they've imagined into being. And they are inventing amazing technologies using their imaginations, AI technologies that they will be releasing into the public, into public spaces. And most people are complaining that this is happening to them, but they have no solutions. They're complaining to people who are coming with solutions. Now, I'm saying to you, I'm not going to be a part of that reality. Why? Because I'm an elite. I am part of the elite. And I say I'm part of the elite because I have my imagination. I have my memories. I have the ability to transform what I am thinking and what I am imagining. I can think outside the box, and I can convert my imaginations into emotive action, into emotions that then become active solutions. This is what the Kingdom of Pineal Sovereign Movement is all about. All right? So I'm part of this great sovereign movement that I initiated, the Kingdom of Pineal, the Pineal Sovereign Movement. We're out here in Portugal. We're on our own jurisdictive piece of land. We are creating our own laws. We are creating our own clothes. We are creating our own recipes of food and how to eat. We are creating our own culture. We have our own manifesto. We are redesigning culture, our own cult, right? And once again, you're taught or programmed to fear being in a cult, when most people don't actually know that they are part of the biggest cult in the world, the cult of Babylon, right? Where everyone dresses by clothes that were designed by one company, where everyone is using money that is printed by one company, where everyone is driving cars and living and going to schools that are run by the same company, BlackRock, right? You're in the cult of BlackRock. Most people in the Matrix are part of a cult called the cult of BlackRock. The difference is you don't know. You're an unwilling participant in the cult of BlackRock. Now, the irony of all of this is when someone decides to create their own cult that is not part of the BlackRock cult, and they decide to create an organic cult that is original, that is imagined out of a space of originality, it is shunned upon. It is attacked. It is mocked. It is evil. It is dangerous. This is what the Agent Smith programming has plugged into the Matrix. To fear and attack anything that is original. To fear and attack anything that is different. To fear and attack anything that is outside the box. Anyone who leaves the slave plantation must be attacked. I've left the slave plantation. Here at Pineal, we've left the slave plantation. We are no longer a part of that BlackRock simulation. We are now inside our own grid. We are creating our own culture, our own cult, our own matrix that is based on what we have imagined, not what someone else has imagined for us. Everything in the matrix has been imagined for you. Your clothes, your food, where you live, schools, shops, shopping malls, everything, your phone, everything you use has been imagined for you. Very little is of your own imagination, of your own creation. Very little. So we have an opportunity right now to break away from the BlackRock cult and start to create our own independent, original cultures or cults of living. This is what the Great Reset is all about. This is what Klaus Schwab is doing. This is what Bill Gates is doing. This is what Elon Musk is doing. This is what all the billionaires and so-called elites are doing. They're creating new cults because they know the old cult must transform. It can no longer run. The old grid is being shut down. And new microgrids must begin to be built, to be created. And it takes extreme willpower. It takes incredible intelligence and imagination. It takes strength and resilience and discipline to be able to walk away from the things you're addicted to, the BlackRock cult that most people are addicted to. The reason why most people will not walk away from the very thing that is enslaving them, the thing that they fear and hate the most, which is the Matrix, the Babylon, the Black Rock cult, is because they don't have the discipline. They don't have the resilience. They don't have the imagination. They don't have the willpower. They don't have the strength. They are weak. And most importantly, they are addicted. They are addicted and lazy. They're addicted to having things done for them. They do not want to do things for themselves. They want things done for them. They want a savior, but they don't want the savior to control them. They don't want the savior to tell them what to do. They just want the savior to do it for them. They are children. Most people are children. Yeah? It's like that teenager at home who wants mom and dad to still pay the rent and still put food in the fridge and cook the food, but don't you dare tell me what time I can come home, or how I should keep my room, or how I should behave in the house. I will do what I want, but you will still pay the rent. You will still provide for me. You will still make sure that I'm safe, that I'm clean, that I'm provided for. That paradigm is over. That is ending. That is now ending. That is all ending. If you truly want to be free and sovereign, you've got to be able to imagine. You've got to be able to leave the cult of Black Rock, mom and dad, the nanny state that has nannied you into this state of trance. You're in a trance, right? Most people are in a trance. You've got to transcend. You've got to end the trance and step into your sovereignty. You've got to be brave enough to go into spaces that are uncomfortable and face a lot of your own bullshit and the bullshit of other people who are trying to do the same thing. It's not easy. This path of awakening, of transcendence, of reimagining, of rebuilding is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Only the bravest, only the strongest, only the most resilient are the ones who will make it. Most people on earth are not going to make it by the end of this reset. By 2030, by 2033, I can guarantee you, most people watching this will not make it. Many are going to commit suicide because they will not be able to plug into the matrix system that is being imagined for them, the AI system. And also they will not be able to let go of the grid that they're in. They will not be able to transition into the AI system because they are holding on to the past. They're holding on to the old, and they do not have the ability to imagine anything outside the box of where they're at. They do not want to leave those jurisdictions and start again. They want to build something on the back of someone else's sweat. So it's going to reach a point where a lot of people are going to commit suicide. I guarantee you, most deaths are going to be suicidal. And I say suicide in many aspects because some are going to do it through instigating genocide for themselves. They're going to begin to attack the system that is creating something new, that is imagining a new reality, that is bringing solutions that will maintain order, law and order, and structure within certain jurisdictions. And because of that, they will not win. They will not win because they're not organized, they're not structured, and most importantly, like I said, they do not have solutions. They do not have anything that they can imagine, least of all, even action, that imagination into action. They just cannot do it. They are followers. Most people are sheep. And there are many people who are making videos saying, I'm not a sheep, I'm awake. You are a sheep because if you look at the clothes you're wearing, the house you're living in, if that house isn't a house that you built, if the clothes aren't the clothes that you made, if the food that you're eating is predominantly not food that you've sourced, if the water that you're drinking is not water that you are looking after, that you know exactly where it's coming from, then you're a sheep, you're following. You're in someone else's matrix. It's that simple. And I'm sorry if this is going to trigger a lot of people, but that's what the truth is. The truth, I'd rather smack you with the truth than kiss you with a sweet lie, right? These are the times we're living in, the times of apocalypse, the times of revelation, the times of truth. And the truth is bitter and painful. The lies are too sweet, right? And there are many people giving out sweet lies saying there's going to be awakening and we're going to stop the elites from imagining anything new. And we're going to go back to the good old days, or we're going to live happily ever after. But there's no solution. There is actually no plan of action. There is nothing that they are able to imagine to say, if we're not going to be doing things the way we're doing them before, this is the new manifesto that we are manifesting. Hardly anybody is doing that. Kingdom of Pineal is one of the few spaces that are actively doing that. We have a manifesto, we have laws, we have tenets, we have everything. We have a blueprint of how to literally start a new paradigm, a new civilization, a new world. If you put us on an island with nothing, we have a blueprint of how we can begin a new culture and build from the ground up in a lawful society. This is what we are gearing up for. Most people are not in this paradigm. They're waiting for someone else to save them. And at the same time, they don't want a savior. This is delusional. People are crazy, not well. Most people are delusional. They live in La La Land. They don't live in reality. These are just facts. These are just facts. Yeah? We've got people who are complaining about YouTube, on YouTube. YouTube is censoring us. We need to end this and stop this. YouTube is not, it's not a charity. It is a company that is owned and created out of somebody's imagination. It is somebody's property. It is somebody's space. And that somebody has every right to dictate whatever they want on that channel. If they want to censor you, they have every right to censor you. You've done nothing to deserve the privilege to tell them not to censor you or to tell them how they should run their company. In the same way, no one has any right to come into your home and tell you how to run your home. No one can come into your home and start telling you that this is how this house is going to run. This is what time people are going to eat and what people are going to eat. This is where this furniture is going to go. That's not how reality works. So why do people think that they can do that to other people externally? The airlines, everyone's complaining about the airlines. Those are not charities. Those are companies that have been imagined and being run by someone somewhere. Whether it's a company or a person, it doesn't matter. There's a conglomerate of people or person that is managing those spaces. Whether it's airlines, shopping malls, shopping centers, grocery stores, clothing manufacturers, car manufacturers, phone manufacturers, social media, the internet. All these spaces are spaces that have been imagined by someone or a group of people. And these group of people have every right to dictate how they are going to run those businesses. You have a choice. You either go with the flow and you submit to their demands because it is their space, or you choose not to engage with those spaces, which is what's going to happen. Many of you will not have a choice. None of us will have a choice. In the very near future, you will not be able to buy or sell anything unless you have the mark of Babylon, unless you have the AI chip, the vaccine and the chip, unless you are part of the social credit score system. You will not be able to buy those fancy clothes that you're wearing. Many of you will be envying me in my beautiful rags, in my hemp clothes that you're laughing at, when you're wearing torn and tattered clothes, because you're not able to buy anything because you don't have the mark of the beast. These are just facts. Hindsight is the greatest currency you can have right now. Hindsight. There's nothing worse than saying, I wish I knew. I wish I had done this at this point. I wish I had. That is the worst feeling in the world. Trust me. The greatest feeling in the world is, I'm glad I saw this coming. I'm glad I took preemptive action. I'm glad I'm in a position where I don't rely on any external forces for my livelihood, for my water, for my food, for my clothing, for my safety. What a time to be alive. I'm living my best life. I'm living my best life. I only feel sorry for those who are not taking preemptive action, because I can see what is coming for them. It's going to be extremely peak. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. For people who are not prepared for what's coming, you're in for a nightmare. You're going to be living hell. It's going to be a living hell on earth for you. All your comforts, all that security is going to be taken away from you and then offered back to you in the form of bribes, including the internet. So many people are addicted to social media. So many people are making so much money on the internet, right? Anyone can become an influencer now. Anyone can make money on the internet. We rely so much on telecoms. The day that the grid goes down and gets turned back on, and you will not have access to any social media, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, WhatsApp, any of those social platforms, unless you have a digital ID. That is the day of reckoning, when many people will be forced to look around them. Who is sitting next to me? Who is living next door to me? Because that will be the only point of contact you will have. You will not be able to hide in the noise of social media. Join communities. Start communities. Think and live outside the box. Leave the box now, before it traps you. Don't say you weren't warned. Don't say we didn't tell you. Time 144. Emit 432.
Why'd you even give me this? You showed me a place that was amazing and incredible, and it was a lie. If you're gonna zap an idea into people's heads, you should really make sure that it's the truth, because you can't do that. You can't just zap.
What?
Zap an idea into people's heads. You were pirating the signal. How?
What?
At your house, all your TVs, your doomsday room. You were boosting the feed from that monitor thing. How did you do that?
No big deal. They're running so much power through it now, a ham radio can pick it up. It's just a matter of finding the right frequency.
You grabbed a signal from another dimension. From a machine here. That means it's transmitting there. What if it's not just predicting the future?
It's broadcasting.
When I touch this thing, for a few minutes, it felt like anything was possible. So then why can't the opposite happen? What if the monitor is just a giant pin? But instead of making you think positive, it makes you think negative, and it's convincing the whole world to feed the wrong wolf. We need to turn that thing off.
It's time to go home.
David! David!
Ah, it's uninhabited and uncharted.
Listen to me.
But it looks like a lovely place to spend your last days.
David, just the monitor is acting as an antenna. It isn't just receiving tachyons. It is taking a possible future and making it
amplifying it, transmitting it, like a feedback loop.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that's coming from right there.
But it's not just showing people the end of the world, them the idea over and over and over again until they just accept
time
it.
Bomb, and we're the ones that lit the fuse.
We still have 58 days to try and change things, but nothing will work as long as that thing is still on.
Young lady, I'm going to assume that your knowledge of tachyonic fusion is a little sketchy. Shutting it down
Is impossible. There is no off.
I'm telling you what it's doing. Why don't you care?
Because he's the one that's doing it. Right?
Let's imagine. If you glimpsed the future, were frightened by what you saw, what would you do with that information? You would go to who? Politicians? Captains of industry? And how would you convince them? With data? Facts? Good luck. The only facts they won't challenge are the ones that keep the wheels greased and the dollars rolling in. What if there was a way of skipping the middleman and putting the critical news directly into everyone's head? The probability of widespread annihilation kept going up. The only way to stop it was to show it, to scare people straight.
Because
reasonable human being wouldn't be galvanized by the potential destruction of everything they've ever known or loved. To save civilization, I would show its collapse. But how do you think this vision was received? How do you think people responded to the prospect of imminent doom? They gobbled it up like a chocolate eclair. They didn't fear their demise, they repackaged it. It can be enjoyed as video games, as TV shows, books, movies. The entire world wholeheartedly embraced the apocalypse and sprinted towards it with gleeful abandon. Meanwhile, your Earth was crumbling all around you. You've got simultaneous epidemics of obesity and starvation. Explain that one. Bees and butterflies start to disappear. The glaciers melt, algae blooms all around you. The coal mine canaries are dropping dead, and you won't take the hint. In every moment, there is the possibility of a better future, but you people won't believe it. And because you won't believe it, you won't do what is necessary to make it a reality. So this terrible future, and you resign yourselves to it. For one reason, because that future doesn't ask anything of you today. So, yes, we saw the iceberg, we warned the Titanic. But you all just steered for it anyway, full steam ahead. Why? Because you want to sink. You gave up. That's not the Monitor's fault. That's yours. Put them through. Thanks for visiting, Frank. It's genuinely nice to see you again.